Hi, I'm Vinny, and this is Wednesday Wisdom. This is a weekly show where we take time out of our busy schedules to reach out to people who might be really depressed, really stressed out, or just stuck in a rut and need extra motivation. Now, before we go any further, I want to give you guys an opportunity to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Wednesday Wisdom as well as other additional content. And my motivation for this week, my words of wisdom that I'll bestow upon you is simple. Quitting is not always a bad thing. Now, I'm aware, trust me, I am very, very much aware that this statement is a walking, talking, complete contradiction of everything I have ever said to you on this show up until this point. I also know that it contradicts everything a motivational speaker is supposed to tell you or has told you before. But believe it or not, there are times where it is okay to quit. And in some cases, quitting can actually be the best thing for your mental health. Now, one example of this is if you're simply unhappy at your job. Now, you can be a hard worker. You may even have some awards or accolades. You might actually be good at your job. But if your job makes you sick to go to, if you wake up every morning miserable because of where you have to go, and you have to sit in the parking lot and mentally prepare yourself before you step into the building and clock in, you should quit. Because that is no way to live your life, especially if you're in a relationship. Because not only will it destroy your life, it will also destroy your relationship. Also, side note, if you're unhappy in a relationship, let that go too. Just letting y'all know that. Another example is if you're simply not good at something. See, remember when you were a kid and everybody and their mother, hell, even your own mother, they tell you that you can be anything in the world you want to be. And when you believe in yourself, you can do anything. We've seen that in a few children's movies in the past.
When you believe in yourself, you can do anything.
And, of course, the classic Back to the Future line,
if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Now, don't get me wrong. This is something that kids should be told. Because children have young minds that are still in development. And they need to be encouraged in order to reach their full potential. The kids need to know how big the world is. They need to know that anything's possible. They need to know that with hard work, things can be done. No child's dream should ever be crushed. However, when you're an adult, it's a bit of a different story. At some point, you have to take a long look in the mirror and you have to ask yourself, is my dream something I really have a talent for and can be truly successful in? Now, notice that I said, ask yourself. Don't let other people tell you what you should be. Don't let anyone tell you what you should be doing. Take an honest look at yourself. Now, you might want to be a singer, but if you can't sing, that's not going to happen. You might be better at doing something else, but because it's not a cool, flashy job like being a singer, you might end up wasting your time on a dream that won't come true. Not because you're not trying hard enough, but because it's simply something you're not good at. I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, people told me I would be a good salesman. I've even had some sales jobs in my life before I came here to HVMA. Now, people would say to me, Vinny, go be a salesman. You'll make good money. You have a great personality. Salesmanship works for you. Now, it is true. You can make good money in that job. And it is true. I have a great personality. Don't mean to toot my own horn, but beep, 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 beep. But I wasn't that great because I didn't really like doing it. And if a person said they weren't interested in the product, I never felt comfortable trying to manipulate them to change their mind, or if someone just didn't want to see the product, I wasn't comfortable trying to shove the product down their throat. I just wasn't that kind of guy. Don't take no for an answer. Be aggressive and all that. And that wasn't me. If I wanted to show somebody something and they said no, I might ask a couple more times, but after a certain point, I'm just like, all right, this guy don't want to see it, and I'm just going to leave. It was just never fun for me. I never liked it, never enjoyed it. I found it annoying. And just also because I've been in situations where salesmen have tried to shove things down my throat. I didn't like it. The only thing I want to shove down my throat is fast food. That's about it. And the thing is, I was also getting yelled at these jobs before I finally quit because I wasn't being me. I wasn't being myself. It wasn't something that I enjoyed. I couldn't put my whole self in it because I didn't believe in it. It wasn't something that worked for me. I had to find my own path. And also, I'll give you another example. I dreamed of one day being a professional wrestler. You guys know I have a love for wrestling. At one point, I thought about getting in the ring and being a wrestler and all that. But I found as I got older that my size and my lack of athleticism was going to be a detriment to that. Now, don't get me wrong. I knew basic wrestling because I wrestled in high school, so I could do the grappling stuff and all of that, but all the high spots and all the other stuff, and you learn that pro wrestling is a whole other ball game from high school and college wrestling. So while I had the basics of mat wrestling, it wouldn't have worked for me for whatever reason. But I knew I had a talent for announcing. So I was still able to be part of the wrestling business, but I was able to do it in my own way. So in a way, I still got to be involved in wrestling. I still got to be a personality in wrestling, but I found it through announcing. I also discovered I have a talent for creativity and entertainment, which is why I became a comedian, which is why I went into radio, which is why I went into podcasting, which is why I went into acting and everything else. And it's also eventually led me here to being a social media manager at HVMA. So I used what I have a talent for and what I know I'm good at and found a way to make it work for me. And that's how I got to where I'm at. So the trick is to find out what you're gifted at, whatever it is, and do that. You have to find what that gift is. And I'm going to take a quote from Steve Harvey right now to help you find it.
Your gift will make room for you. Now, what is your gift? Stop trying to be something you ain't gifted at.
If you know you're not good at something, quit and find a better path, because you won't be happy in the long run if you don't do that. Now, the biggest problem people have with this is that quitting is usually seen as a sign of weakness or failure or a lack of passion. If you just quit something, it means you don't care. But the truth is, if you feel devalued and underappreciated, sticking around is not going to do you any favors. Take it from me. I can tell you from personal experience, longevity and loyalty is not always rewarded. And sticking around is not going to get you more respect. In the long run, it's going to make you way more miserable. Now, another big misconception is that quitting is the easy way out or the easiest thing to do. Like, oh yeah, quitting's easy. En contraire. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a bold-faced lie. Because if quitting was easy, I promise you, everyone would do it. If quitting was easy, you think the unemployment rate is high now? It would be 1 billion times higher if quitting was easy. Because if quitting was easy, trust me, everyone would do it. There are a lot of essential businesses that wouldn't exist because there would be nobody to run them. Quitting, believe it or not, is actually the hardest thing in the world to do. And the reason it's hard is because, A, nobody wants to be seen as weak or a failure, so they don't quit. Also, you have bills that you have to pay, and the money is good where you're at, so you don't want to leave. Also, you have that fear of not being able to find another job, or that the job you're gifted at isn't going to make you a lot of money right away. So you're scared to pursue it. That's why when people quit anything, whether it's a job or a relationship or a project or anything else, you hear most people say, it was the hardest thing I ever had to do. Because they had to accept the fact that they gave it everything they had, and their best just wasn't good enough. That is hard for anyone to do. Now, just to be clear, I am not telling everybody to quit what they're doing right this second. Please, I beg of you, don't use this as a knee-jerk reaction to do something stupid and then turn around and say, well, Vinny said I should. No, don't turn this around on me. Don't you put this blame on me. Before you decide to quit, whatever it is you're going to quit, ask yourself the necessary questions. Do the prep before you make the call. All right? Ask yourself, do I love what I do? Am I being appreciated? And most importantly, did I truly give it my all? And if the answer to those questions truly are no, no, and yes, then, and only then, you should quit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will wrap up Wednesday Wisdom for this week. I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Wednesday Wisdom, as well as other additional content. Check back soon for a new episode. And until then, stay social.